My name is Dr. Ellen Butler, and I'm a clinical psychologist working in St. Patrick's Mental Health Services. In this video, I will be speaking about how teachers can have more compassion in their lives and how this is likely to be helpful. I think it is really important to name that I am not a teacher and do not want to assume that I understand the day-to-day demands of being a teacher. I do have experience working closely with schools, particularly from my time in child and adolescent mental health services. I really love when my work allows me the opportunity to work alongside teachers to help support a young person. Compassion-focused therapy is a model that I found to be particularly helpful working with young people and the important adults in their life. It is a model that we as a psychology department in St. Patrick's Mental Health Services are very passionate about, and we really believe that everyone can benefit from. The aim of this video is really about increasing moments of compassion in your daily life as teachers, hopefully to bring about change and as a way of managing difficult or stressful moments that can come up in day-to-day life as a teacher. This is not about giving you more to do on top of lots of other demands, but the hope is that this video may give you the tools or advice on how to manage stress during busy days and to increase in compassion for yourself and others when things are difficult. To begin this video, it is really important to understand what compassion is and what it is not. People often think compassion is a fluffy concept, or possibly even relates to being weak or self-indulgent. People may worry that it could get in the way of getting tasks done. This is not the case at all. Compassion refers to being wise, courageous, non-judgmental, and involves taking responsibility for the best interests of others and ourselves. Paul Gilbert, the founder of compassion-focused therapy, described compassion as a quality that aims to nurture, look after, teach, guide, mentor, soothe, protect, and offer feelings of acceptance and belonging. I'm sure most of you will agree that these are really important qualities in a school setting. Compassion can often be confused with empathy or love. Compassion is much more than these. Being compassionate involves both recognizing difficulties and the commitment towards alleviating them. If we only did the first part and did not actually do anything about our suffering, we would stay stuck. However, if we do not recognize our suffering, we would not have understanding to reduce it. An example of understanding this is bringing to mind a close friend. Imagine how you may be if they got really bad news. Being compassionate would be acknowledging their suffering and committing in some way to reducing their suffering. Think about your facial expression as you sit with your friend. What is your tone of voice? Are you rolling your eyes and telling them that it is their fault? Are you telling them the worst case scenario? If you're not having a really bad day yourself, probably not. Without having to fix everything, it is likely you would respond showing kindness and support and be reassuring. For example, recognizing that this will pass, it will be okay, or that they're doing the best they can and are not alone. Being compassionate in this way towards yourself and others is not about having all the answers, but rather how we respond to suffering and our efforts to reduce it. We all have the wisdom to be compassionate to ourselves and others, but this can be really hard, particularly towards ourselves. Compassion-focused therapy is rooted in human evolution, neuroscience, and psychological theory. It recognizes that our brain has developed over thousands of years. In compassion-focused therapy, we talk about the old brain and the new brain. The old brain is our animal brain, the brain that is concerned with basic motives, emotions, and behaviors such as protection, food, and shelter. The new brain is concerned with higher order functions such as planning, reflecting, imagining, and self-monitoring. This makes it difficult for us as humans because we have different parts of our brains that are concerned with different things. And at times, these parts of our brains can be in conflict. We need compassion to cope with our tricky brains. A helpful example of understanding this is an everyday situation that happened between a postman and a dog. One day, Pat the postman was delivering mail as usual. He got to the front gate of the house and a dog ran from the bins, barking loudly, and chased him. The postman jumped over the gate and just made it without being bitten. The dog was delighted to have saved his family from the dangers of the postman and happily went to lie by the front door for a snooze. However, Pat the postman stayed anxious as he continued his round despite being safe. He began to get caught in an old brain, new brain loop. For example, thinking someone should control that dog, which made him feel angry. He then started imagining what would have happened if he did get bitten, which made him feel more anxious. Pat then started imagining being in hospital, missing work, not getting paid, what others would think of him, all while the dog happily snoozed at home. This example shows, through no fault of our own, that the old brain, new brain loops can prolong our suffering and distress when difficult things happen in our life. Unfortunately, just like Pat, our brains can be prone to experiencing strong emotions from our old brain. And then imagining situations, comparing ourselves to others, ruminating, thinking about worst case scenarios and judging ourselves from our new brain. This is not our fault. However, compassion can be really helpful in managing the challenges of our tricky brains. Compassion-focused therapy recognises at around just 2 or 3 years of age, we become aware that we are alive and we just have to get on with it. We don't choose to be born or the time in history we are born. We don't choose our bodies or the way they work. We don't choose our genes. We don't choose our families. We don't choose our emotions or basic temperaments. All of these things just happen to us and we have to cope with them. Compassion-focused therapy helps us realise that much of what causes us to suffer is not our fault. However, at the same time, compassion-focused therapy helps us take responsibility in a compassionate way for what we can change. Compassion-focused therapy moves away from naming, shaming, or pathologizing our difficult experiences as humans, and instead recognizing that we can all struggle due to our tricky brains and life experiences. Lots of research, particularly by Dr. Mary Welford in the UK, has highlighted the valuable role of compassion in schools. She has found that the well-being of teachers and students are highly related to each other. The analogy we often refer to is that if you are on an aircraft and there's a change in pressure, the first thing you do is put on your own oxygen mask first, and then you help someone else. The same applies to this approach. Your own self-care is so important and also benefits your students. This approach is about developing awareness of stress levels during your working day, where the pinch points occur, and how having moments of compassion can be really helpful. In compassion-focused therapy, there are 3 emotion regulation systems that exist, and we often refer to them as the 3 circles. The red circle is the threat system, which is concerned with protection from threat. If there's something threatening in the environment, for example, you may experience feelings such as fear, anxiety, or anger, which then may impact on your behavior. For example, activating the fight or flight response. This system is also activate the better safe than sorry response. Threat may be activated, for example, in the classroom when an unexpected deadline pops up during a teacher inspection, or if you have any sort of stressful experience in the classroom. The blue circle is the drive system, which is concerned with acquiring things for our survival. The drive system aims to direct us towards important goals and resources and can bring about feelings of anticipation and pleasure. This may happen when teaching a lesson, marking homework, or presenting at a meeting. The green system is the soothing system, which is concerned with rest and care for well-being. These feelings are not associated with pleasure seeking, and they are not present just due to the absence of threat. The soothe system is typically associated with awareness of being socially connected, cared for, and safe. This may happen when having a chat with a colleague in the staff room over a cup of coffee, getting out for a walk, or having a quiet moment, if that's possible. Our soothing system acts as a regulator for both threat and drive. Compassion-focused therapy suggests for our well-being, it's important to have balance across these three systems. That is spending equal times in each during the day. However, there are many situations where either the threat system or the drive system become dominant, and this can cause difficulties. For example, bullying can lead to having a very strong threat system, which can lead to difficulties with anxiety or anger. While excessively high standards in a family or in a school environment can lead to a very strong drive system, resulting in difficulties with overworking or the inability to slow down. Good well-being is associated with a sense of balance between these systems, while mental health difficulties are often associated with an over-under activity of any of these systems. As teachers, it is likely to be helpful to think about your own circles for a few minutes. Do your systems seem out of balance? During the school day, how much time would you spend in each? Or where would you spend most of your time? For many of you, your working day may have a lot of threat and drive and a small bit of soothe. This may look different to when you were at home or when you were on holidays. I know for me, I can often go between drive and threat during my working day and can particularly get into threat when I have to do lots of things in a short space of time, or when I get asked to do something new or unfamiliar, like doing this YouTube talk or having to speak in public. I know when I take the time to slow down, breathe, or connect with colleagues, it really helps activate my soothe system. This is something that I really need to make sure I do on purpose each day rather than constantly running from task to task. It is important to also mention that some people can over-rely on their drive system to try to get out of threat, for example, by overworking or always having to stay busy, which may feel like a helpful strategy in the moment, but this can likely lead to burnout. Compassion-focused therapy aims to activate the soothing system so that this system can balance the threat and drive systems. I'll be discussing later in this video how we can access our soothe system more. It is really important to mention that compassion-focused therapy is about moving away from the ideas that there's something wrong with us if we feel strong emotions or a high level of stress. Rather, the focus is about moving towards an understanding that we all experience difficulties in life, that experiencing a full range of emotions is a normal part of the human experience. And by turning towards emotions and working with them, we can all be happier and healthier. It is also important to say that compassion is not the same as the soothe system. Compassion sits in the middle of the three systems. We need threat and drive to keep us going and surviving. But the most important part is finding balance across the three systems. As teachers, it is likely being aware of your threat system and understanding how this impacts you in the classroom will be really helpful for your well-being. It's likely that as teachers, you are in threat at different points of the day, sometimes without even realizing. Sometimes this may be helpful, for example, responding quickly to a difficult situation, but there are other times when this may be unhelpful, leading you to be more reactive than you'd like to be. Take a moment to think about all the juggling demands you're trying to manage in this moment. Imagine them as different balloons that you're trying to keep up in the air in any one given moment. It is understandable that threat comes in as a way of helping you manage these competing demands. Having a good level of self-awareness of your own threat system is likely to be really helpful in the classroom. To do this, it's important to think about your own triggers for threat. Perhaps deadlines, students being late, incomplete homework, inspections, covering the curriculum, exams. Notice what happens when you are in threat. Think about your thinking, your body, what your attention gets focused on, and your own behavior, or what you feel like doing in that moment. Noticing these aspects of threat is a helpful way of catching yourself when you're in your threat system and knowing when to bring the soothe system online during the day. This can help you be less reactive and more mindful of your responses. It can help you break the cycle of running from one stressful task to the next and recognizing when you need to slow down and pause. Allowing yourself to do this can help you be more compassionate both to yourself and to others. As mentioned, it's not about getting rid of threat. It's more about having balance in our days so that we feel well and we mind our mental health. Often people don't spend as much time in their soothe systems as in their drive or threat systems, particularly when things are busy and demanding. Our soothe system can be hard to access at times, but I will speak to a few ways in how this can be done. What's really important is that you don't ignore your needs when you are stressed, for example, going between threat and drive. Where possible, stop, slow down, and think about what might be helpful in that moment. I'm going to talk about a few practical strategies that can help. This cannot be underestimated, particularly between colleagues. Being open regarding our daily struggles and being supportive to each other help us access our soothe system. Take time every day to connect with each other and prioritize this time as a way of getting into your soothe system. Ensure that this is not the first thing to go on busy days where possible. Coffee and lunch breaks are really important time for taking a break from work and connecting with others. This could also be done by checking in with someone during the day or seeking out support when needed. Connecting with others, particularly when we are open about what we are finding hard, is also a way of recognizing that as humans, we all struggle with stress and work, and that is okay. We are only human. Breathing is likely to be a really useful tool during busy days to access your soothe system. It is important to name that breathing can be really hard for lots of different reasons. And what is most important is finding your own way of doing this. It's not about long, lengthy practices. You can do this walking from class to class or sitting in your seat before a lesson begins. If you have time, I recommend looking up Dr. Ellen Butler's YouTube video on the potential of breathwork. It illustrates really well how breathing can help regulate our nervous system and therefore reduce stress. It is also important to say this is not about relaxing. This is an active process of activating our soothe system. Let's try practice this together now, or feel free to come back and listen and participate in this exercise when the time is right. Place your feet flat on the floor and sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Allow yourself to have a gentle facial expression. And turn your focus to your breathing. Allow the air to come deeply into your diaphragm. Find a breathing rhythm that feels soothing and calming. Usually slightly slower and deeper than normal, but whatever suits you. Allow the in-breath and out-breath be soothed and even. Use your attention to explore your breathing in your chest, nose, and stomach. Feel your body grounded and resting on the seat and floor. When you notice that your mind is wandering, for example, to thoughts or maybe even sounds around you, gently bring your attention back to your breathing and know that this is normal. Our minds have evolved to wander. Allow things to be just as they are. And when you are ready, just bring your attention back into the room. Another way of bringing our soothe system online is using compassion-focused imagery exercises. Bringing to mind a soothing image can be really powerful in activating our soothe system. Imagery exercises can sometimes be hard, so be gentle with yourself. And remember, it is not about relaxing, but about activating your soothe system. It is also okay if your images are vague or blurry. If I was working therapeutically with someone, I would probably spend some time in advance brainstorming these images, thinking about what you would see or hear or feel. So it is totally understandable if this is hard for you at first. These exercises do take practice. One such practice is the calm place exercise. Let's try practice this together now, or again, feel free and come back and listen to this practice when the time is right. I invite you to begin by finding a comfortable posture. Feel the chair beneath you supporting you, and feeling a sense of grounding and connectedness to the earth through your feet. If you feel comfortable, you can gently close your eyes. Start by engaging with soothing rhythm breathing. Take this moment just for yourself. Notice the flow of your breath, and as you become more aware of your breath, you might notice that it starts to become a little slower and a little deeper. Allow the breath to find a rhythm that is comfortable and soothing for you. Feeling the breath come in and going out. And as you breathe in this soothing way, you might say to yourself, mind slowing down, body slowing down, mind slowing down, body slowing down. You now can begin to imagine yourself going to a place that's very peaceful, very calm and secure. A place that you feel really good to be. This might be a place that you've actually visited, or it may be a place that you visited before in your imagination. It doesn't really matter as long as the place you're imagining is very peaceful and calm. Allow yourself to imagine going there as best you can in your own way. And if there's more than one place that comes to mind, simply pick the one that interests you the most right now. You can visit the others another time. Enter as best you can. As you do, perhaps feel a smile of gentle friendliness on your face. This time and this place is just for you. Let's explore this calm and soothing place through each of the senses, allowing in the feelings of peace as best you can. Look around and notice what you imagine seeing in this special place. Notice the colors and the shapes that you see there. And as you notice what you see, notice if you're imagining hearing any sounds or whether it's just very quiet. You may even imagine a smell or a fragrance in this place, and you may not. Notice the temperature and the time of day and the season of the year. Notice whether you are on your own or whether there are other living things around you. Especially notice any feelings of peacefulness, relaxation, and comfort that you may feel. Allow yourself just to be there and allow yourself to relax into them, to feel that relaxation, that peacefulness. Nothing else to do right now and nothing else to be, simply enjoying a few quiet moments in this very peaceful place. Find the spot where you feel most comfortable and allow yourself to get settled there. As you deeply relax in this place of calm and safeness, you can allow your body to recharge and your mind as well. Just drawing from this sense of deep restfulness and comfort that's here. Imagine that this place takes such joy in you being here and welcomes you completely. Allow yourself to feel how calm the place accepts you, wants you to be here, and takes pleasure in your presence here. Allow yourself to build a sense of safety and peace in this place that is just for you. Breathing in that safety and breathing out fear. If your mind should wander or get distracted, simply take a breath or two and refocus your mind back into this peaceful, calm place. And if this is a pleasant experience, know that you can come back here and enjoy this any time of your own choosing, simply by deciding to shift your attention to your inner world, allowing your breathing to get deep and comfortable, and imagining yourself come to this very beautiful, peaceful, calm place. We'll start to close this practice now, but just enjoy this place that you've created for a few more moments. And remember that it is always here for you whenever you need it. Before we come back to the room, just take a few more soothing rhythm breaths, savoring the sense of peace, and whenever you are ready, open your eyes and return to your surroundings. I hope each of you can take at least one of these ideas back with you to your role as a teacher, as a way of bringing more soothe into your lives. Think about times that you may be meeting the demands of your job, but you may be feeling overwhelmed and anxious. Think about what you may need in this moment. As I mentioned before, it may not be a 30-minute meditation, but even a moment of soothe can help create some balance, to help slow down, feel connected, and recharge. An important message of compassion-focused therapy is recognizing that we are all humans in this world together, doing the best we can with the resources we have. I imagine if as teachers you discussed together the balloons that you were trying to balance, as discussed earlier in this video, there would be a lot of common struggles. Being open about these and offering support to each other is a really important way of being compassionate. Acknowledging difficult experiences are an authentic part of human life. This can help us recognize that it is normal to feel anxious, angry, overwhelmed, frustrated, embarrassed, or sad at times. We all make mistakes and we all fall short. It is important to not feel alone or to beat yourself up when these things happen. Acknowledging the common humanity of suffering can give us perspective in recognizing it is common and part of normal life. Modeling to students that there are things that even teachers struggle with, and the benefits of connection can send an important de-shaming and compassionate message to students too. This can be done by naming struggles. For example, I struggle with having to speak in public too, or it took me a while to understand this concept too. Being open in this way to both students and colleagues gives across the message that we are all human and we all find things difficult. I really hope after listening to this video, you're all leaving with a few ideas on how you can bring more compassion into your own life in some way, and hopefully have more self-awareness of your own 3 circles. What is really important here is putting on your own mask first. Your own well-being as teachers is essential for you and your students. It is important to remember that we all have tricky brains and they are not our fault. There is so much we did not choose and is outside of our control, but we can bring compassion to our lives to manage our tricky brains and difficult moments. I've included some resources as well that may be helpful at some point too, either in your own life or in your role as a teacher. Thanks for listening.